Hey guys, this is Andre Touchy FILI. You're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Let's get weird.
This is the Shark, Anthony AVILA. You're listening to Verbal Scrap.
This is Keto Andrews, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. This is Nan Fan, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. I'm a fighter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight.
Hey, this is Dave Hirschbein, MMA Gold, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap.
I've worked so hard to do what I got to do in here. I took so much blood for this sport. I took so much pain, everything for this sport.
Hey, y'all, this is Zeke Johnston. You're listening to SRMMA.com Verbal Scrap. Stay tuned. They got some good stuff coming up.
We always have some good stuff coming up. We're on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast entitled The Best 41st Show, period. I am here in studio with co-host Shro.
How you doing there, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to get this show going because we got so much going. You're here with your host, Jaywa. You're probably listening on SRMMA.com. We do a lot of comprehensive combat coverage. We do cover nationwide things, local events. We try to cover as much as possible in the MMA/boxing world. You're probably checking us out on iTunes, and if you're not, you can download us on iTunes. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SRMMA. We got lots of stuff to get into. West Coast Fighting 5 review. So much news to come out of West Coast with Max and Keto going at it. Andre FILI on the card, Anthony AVILA. We got all the interviews for you. Art of War preview with Buddy Wallace and DJ Roberson. World Series of Fighting. We have a UFC interview with Josh Thompson, a response to Nate Diaz's recent comments. We'll be talking about that more. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about that UFC. Did you catch that UFC 159?
That 159? Yeah, the Voodoo UFC event.
What makes you say that, sir?
Oh, gee, did you not watch it?
I watched a
That
couple.
was the most bizarre UFC event that has ever taken place.
Well, I mean, you're more than welcome to set this up for the fans. I mean, go ahead. Dish out some of the details. What are some of the grotesque things you saw at UFC 159? Took place April 27th.
Let's see. We had a toe falling off, 2 eye gouges, one that was stopped prematurely, and then someone darn near lost a thumb.
If you're interested, you can check out SRMA.com right now for a GIF of John Jones basically breaking his toe completely off. I have to say, I give him much more respect as a man for finishing that fight, because if my toe would have broken off during a fight, I can't honestly say that I would have done anything but stared at my toe until I probably got knocked out, unconscious.
Like I was telling you before we started the show, if I stub my toe, I'm crying in a corner for about 4 hours. So,
especially if it's the pinky toe. Like, if it's a big toe, I can handle it. I feel like, yeah, it's a big toe. But the pinky toe, oh my God, it hurts. I'm just saying, UFC 159 highlights. John Jones took on Chael Sonnen. We'll play him right now.
John Bones Jones took on Fuel TV's Chael Sonnen in a fight that has been pumped and billed for a long time thanks to Chael's mouth and the Ultimate Fighter. Rashad?
Well, I mean, there's no secret. A lot of words said by Chael Sonnen in this fight, but John just kept it straight business, mentally focused like he always is. But who expected John Jones to come with the relentless takedown pressure? You know, John Jones inside the guard is one of the most dangerous guys because he's so long and can land those elbows. But he just punished him once he gets inside the guard. And Chael got up a few times, which made it seem like this may be the perfect game plan because John may get tired. But it was the relentless pressure of those elbows coming down, raining on Chael. And when John gets you down, it's very, very hard to stand that pressure. And once again, you see it right here. John Jones gets the win with the pressure, body, ground and pound, dirty style.
And then at the end there, breaks his toe, and once the adrenaline wears off, he realized it, and it is not going to be a fun night for John Jones, even though he defends his title, 5th consecutive light heavyweight title defense.
What I want to ask you, well, I mean, before I put my tongue back in my mouth, because that whole gif of his toe broken off is gross. But
yeah,
you can check it out on SRMA.com if you're looking. I wanted to ask you this before I ask you about the fight. Chael Sonnen is now 6-6 in the UFC. What do you think about that stat?
I think it's a testament to the talent that's in the UFC. I still think Sonnen is a top echelon fighter. He's obviously on a decline, and we're going to see him. I believe he alluded in the post-fight press conference that he's going to start thinking more about broadcasting, which is a perfect fit for him. I think both he and Brian Stan are fantastic at that. But if he continues to fight, it's not going to be at the top level. So I think he is not the person to do it. So I think we may see one more fight out of him just as a hurrah. He wants to go out at least with a win.
Of course.
I mean, still challenging himself. So it's going to be interesting to see. But to answer your question, it's just the testament that, especially in those divisions, man, I mean, he's jumping
light heavyweight for sure.
For crying out loud.
Jumping up. Well, you're listening to the 41st episode. You can check out our sponsor, sponsored by Lana's Egg Whites. You can check them out on Facebook as well as hit them on their website, lanaseggwhites.com. All kinds of nutritional supplements for some of the area's top athletes, including bodybuilders, professional athletes in football, Major League Baseball, and MMA. So check them out, lanaseggwhites.com. Now on to Jones. Like they said, the adrenaline wears off. He realizes his toe is snapped off. Did you see? It looked like they had a full shoe all over him. And what I heard from our boy at the Clinch Report, Jonathan King, shout out to him, he was writing on Facebook about, they probably should have got him out of that ring really quickly, considering all the germs on the canvas and the fact that his toe is split off. And don't worry about a post-fight interview. I think we're good this time. What do you think about that one?
There was a question during the post-fight press conference about the New Jersey Athletic Commission, because that does fall on them. And Dana White did defend him, saying that the New Jersey Athletic, or the Fighting Commission there, he feels is one of the best. The fact that, the doctor at the end of the round that checks down every fighter, it's just standard routine, missed the toe. I think I can let that slide.
I missed the toe.
Everybody, he missed the toe. John didn't realize it until he was doing his little.
He was
I'm going to punch
busy
at the
being a
camera.
murderer.
Yeah, he kind of was a sociopath for that. I mean, he jail sunning. So.
Well, last thing I want to ask you about this topic. I think he was mentioning Alexander Gustafsson. What do you think about that matchup? You still interested in that coming in the future? Do you think maybe Gegard Mousasi or someone else in light heavyweight is due up next?
With you asking me that, I happen to have heard that a man named Anderson Silva called Dana White immediately after the fight.
I want that dude's broken toe.
And there was some alluding to that in the post-fight press conference.
Ooh.
So, actually, I would much rather see Jones let his toe fully heal, and then after the Sylvia Weidman, without skipping over Weidman, that fight still has to happen. But if Silva takes that W, then Jones, Sylvia. I think Sylvia is basically calling him out.
Well,
it's unconfirmed because Dana White was, doing his classic misdirection.
We'll see how many people will pay for this fight first, and then I'll make it happen.
But yeah, that was officially out there.
Well,
Officially out there.
You're on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, SRMA.com. Also on the card, Roy Nelson versus Czech Congo. This Nelson guy seems to get knockouts, and I thought, what better way to get the feel for the knockout than kind of hearing how it was played out during the broadcast.
Using angles, using movement. He just doesn't want to stand stationary, and he doesn't want to have his back up against the cage either. Oh! Big shot! Just like that! It is all over! Wow! That's Roy Nelson, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what we were talking about. There's not a whole lot of dudes like him. There's a lot of people that look like Roy Nelson. There's not a lot of people that fight like Roy Nelson.
Now, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this amazing knockout machine that Nelson seems to be producing? Knockouts over many, many, many of the top guys in the division. And not saying that Congo is one of the top guys right now, but come on, it was a beautiful knockout.
He's got country strength, man.
Big country strength. He eats his grand slams and gets those knockouts. I mean,
he does, man. He's eating his Wheaties every day.
Well, here's what I want to ask you about the heavyweight division. I mean, where do you think, you get these fights with guys like Nelson, Congo? I mean, where do these guys really stack up in the division to you?
Feeders.
To who? Where do you think they go? Are they feeders to the bigger guys, or are they feeders to the younger guys?
Excuse me, Congo is a feeder, not Nelson. At this point, I think Nelson is a top contender. What Nelson's going to run into if he gets title shots, especially if it's Cain Velasquez, because he's got a gas tank like no other. It's just one of those weird things that being a heavyweight fighter nowadays is probably the most difficult thing in sports right now. To be able to hold and maintain that belt. I remember asking you back in the day if you thought Dos Santos was going to be, the John Jones or the Anderson Silva of the heavyweight division. And we all kind of thought that. And then Velasquez came out and he was like, no, that's mine. I don't know.
No, that first one was a joke.
Yeah, that was just an accident. You caught me. So now the heavyweight division is probably one of the most exciting divisions right now for me, not just because they're bigger, but because it's not the standard thought process of like, oh yeah, the challenger's just going to get whooped. It's just not going to happen.
Well, here on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, we'll get back into some more of the UFC 159 coverage. Also on the same day, April 27th, kind of locally for us, NorCal Combat 6 had their first ever female fight, and we were able to speak to the winner out of U Street Fighters MMA, Melissa Young. So let's hear what she had to say.
It's Jay from SRMA.com. We're here live with the first ever female fighter to come out victorious at NorCal Combat. I mean, what did you think about the whole venue, and what did you think about the experience coming into that scene? And a lot of people were looking at the female fight because it was the first one on the card.
The venue was awesome as usual. I was really honored to be able to be a part of that and be one of the first girls fight, and to be the first girl winner. That was awesome. The fight just kind of happened. You know, I took it in 10 days out, and just something that I always wanted to do, and finally got to do it, and it felt awesome.
Well, is this like a bucket list type thing, or maybe is there a little bit of drive now to keep going?
It was definitely a bucket list thing. I set out to do this a while ago, and finally got to do it, and I'm so competitive, so there's a good possibility I might be back.
Well, the fight itself, I mean, what did you see during the fight? How did you see it going, and what was your most enjoyable part of it?
The fight itself was awesome. You know, I was waiting for the nerves to kick in, the adrenaline to kick in, but it just kind of never happened, and I don't know, I was focused on my opponent, and I would have to say the highlight of it for me was when I caught her and I seen her drop. That was a great feeling.
Well, training with U Street, I mean, how did it go in preparation for that fight?
Well, we didn't know too much about her, just that, you know, she might have some wrestling background. So we tried to work on some takedown defense and, you know, work on the guard and things like that. Of course, we do stand up, so always working on the striking. And, you know, I wasn't prepared for the way she took me down. I won't lie, I wasn't expecting that. I was waiting for her to shoot in on me and you know, go for the legs, but, you know, she did a great job. She took me down. She's great at tripping and throwing, and that was awesome, you know, going for a ride. But, you know, I wanted to stand. You know, that's my thing. That's what I've been taught. But, you know, overall, I thought it was a great fight.
Well, last thing before we let you go, we got to let you give thanks. Any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Definitely want to give a shout-out to Riley with 5150. Of course, Armando, my coach, my whole U Street Fighters crew, Ace, she's my female training partner, and I couldn't have done it without her. She's awesome, and John with NorCal Combat, and everybody out there.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you for talking to us, Melissa.
Thank you so much.
Also on the card, some of the other results. Edgar Loza was able to defeat Jared Allen by TKO first round in the main event of the evening. Also, Johnny Terry was able to get a TKO in the second round over Travis Whitley, and Frank Rigorello was able to get a second round TKO over Corey Carino at NorCal Combat 6. You can check out NCC on Facebook for more of their information, and stay tuned to SRMA.com for more coverage. Also on that day, SRMA.com was live covering the World Combat Series 10 event. We were able to talk to Louis Lightyear Vargas in the main event in the evening. He defeated hometown kid JJ Okanovich. You can check out SRMA.com for post-fight coverage right now. But here's the interview with the new champion.
This is Jay from SRMA.com. We're here at World Combat Series with the new lightweight champion, Louis Lightyear Vargas. How did the fight overall go for you? It was a war, you know, win all the rounds. I mean, how did you see it going down in your eyes?
I pictured exactly how it went. Me going, taking down, be aggressive. I knew if I gave him an inch, he would probably take a mile. So I had to go in, be confident, punch hard, take him down, and, you know, just finish it. Try to finish it when I could. I mean, the first round, I went at it 100%. You know, I gave it all, and, you know, he was still coming. So I just had to keep on giving him more.
Well, the first round kind of surprised a lot of people, probably including him. You went right for the takedown. What was the game plan there?
It was, I mean, honestly, it was 1-2 takedown. You know, stay on him, be aggressive. He's never gone against anyone like me. My mindset, I was not going to stop, not going to quit, not going to give up. He did pop he had my arm for a little bit, and I did hear it pop, but, you know, to me, getting the belt, getting the win is way more than, you know, having pain for an hour or two. So.
Well, early in the fight, it looked like you were able to actually daze him a little bit, you know, land a nice hand. Did you notice that during the fight?
Yeah, I did. When I started striking him, I was over him, and his eyes kind of looked like they kind of glazed over, and I just wanted to finish it. I just tried to keep on striking, you know, just go at it 100%. But, you know, he just came back. So, I mean, it was a good little battle we had there.
Well, you know, still being undefeated in camo, where do you see you doing the best inside the cage? I mean, what do you feel you did the most well inside this particular fight?
Just being confident, being aggressive, and just keep on coming.
What do you want to do in the future with the title? You want to come back and defend it? I mean, what are your plans as far as World Combat Series is concerned?
Right now, it's open for whatever. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I mean, I'm open for new opportunities for me.
Well, everybody celebrates a different way. Last thing, I mean, how are you going to celebrate a title?
Right now, we're going to go with my family, have a good time, and then after that, who knows? The night's young, and we're just going to have fun.
Do you have any shout-outs before we let you go?
I want to shout out to everyone who came out. I want to thank WCS for having me. I want to thank my team, my coaches, and my family.
We can find post-fight coverage at srma.com with the new lightweight champ, Luis Vargas. Thank you for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Also on the WCS 10 card, Isaiah Gonzalez was able to take home a title as he defeated Jason Rice with a slick armbar. You can check out more of that coverage on srma.com. We were able to catch up with the champ, so let's hear his post-fight coverage.
It's JWA from SRMA.com. We're here at World Combat Series with the new bantamweight champion, Isaiah Gonzalez. How does it feel to come out of this fight victorious and have the title around your waist?
It feels great. I trained really hard. My team and I trained really hard, and this is a title that my team and I earned, and it feels great to go out there and see the fruits of your labor. You know what I mean? So yeah, great. I'm excited, man.
Well, what did you think of what Rice was able to bring your way, and you were able to sink in the armbar? I mean, what did you think of him as an opponent?
I try to respect. I respect all my opponents. You don't know what they're going to bring to the table. Everything poses a problem, and he hadn't fought for over a year, so I don't know what kind of evolution he had obtained or what new skills he has. So I just prepared for the toughest Jason Rice I can think of and be ready for everywhere. So thank God, I got a great camp. So we got phenomenal striking there and great groundwork, and I just knew where the fight took it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to just use all my tools. So that's what I did.
Well, about the finish itself, I mean, what did you see that? Was it the initial takedown? You just kind of fell into that position for the armbar, or were you actually looking for that during any scrambles?
I knew if I got taken down, I was going to sub him or ground and pound him. I knew what happened was that when I had gone in there, I knew he was going to take me down. So I threw the leg kick, and once he grabbed, I knew I was going down. That's why I hit him as hard as I could. And yeah, so through the transition of falling, I definitely landed the armbar. That was definitely a planned thing. So it worked for me, and thank God, we trained so much in the gym. It worked, awesome, flawless. So, good hard work, good training. That's what made that armbar possible.
Well, everybody celebrates things, different ways. How are you going to celebrate this championship?
I'm going to celebrate it with my friends, family, my teammates, and my beautiful girlfriend over here. And we're going to, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to have a good time. I know that much. We're going to have a great breakfast tomorrow because I've been cutting weight so long, I'm starving.
Last thing before I let you go, any shout-outs, any thank yous you'd like to get on here before we let you go, sir?
Oh, most definitely. I got to thank NorCal Fight Factory, my gym, my team, my family. I love them. I love them all, my beautiful girlfriend, my most amazing mother, so supportive. All my family that came out here to support me. My sponsor, Fight Logic. And hopefully maybe JFY is sponsoring me. I got their hat on, y'all. Come check me out. And, and everyone who makes it possible. WCS, Gabe Scarpelli, Mike McNeil, thank you too, man, because guys like you, fans, all that, man, it just happened. And I'm just always grateful and thankful for everybody. And you know what? We got to give lots of love to my opponent too. I mean, people have bad blood, whatever. It doesn't matter now. At the end of the day, we're all martial artists. We're all respectful. And a fight can't happen without two people, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful for it.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. I want to thank you for your time, champion. And I want to say it was a pleasure to watch you fight.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time or any time, man.
You can check out more of the coverage coming on srma.com. Now let's get back into some awesome UFC news. If you guys didn't check out UFC on Fox 7, I'm sure my man Shro here will remind you of that sweet knockout finish that THOMSON was able to get over Nate Diaz. You remember that one?
Yeah, right before the towel hit the ground.
That was exactly what happened. Well, on MMA Fighting, it was reported that Nate Diaz was discussing what he thought after the knockout loss. And there might be a few choice words in here, but I am quoting. I'm going to go through this. Nate Diaz was quoted as saying, quote, "The last guy I fought, Josh Thompson, he was scared shitless when I was fighting him. It's unbelievable how scared he was in there. He was running for his life. He was making women sounds when I was fighting him. He was making bitch-ass lady sounds, and that's not bullshit. I'm not here talking shit on him. This is reality." I was able to catch up with Josh Thompson and get his thoughts on that particular issue, as well as his thoughts overall, where he ranks in the UFC, where he feels the UFC might be putting him, or his hopes on getting a title shot in the near future. So let's hear UFC lightweight Josh Thompson.
It's JWA from SRMA.com. We're here live at World Combat Series with UFC lightweight Josh Thompson. I want to talk about your last victory. I mean, what did you think about your overall performance against Nate Diaz and how you were able to shine on a card with a lot of talent? And a lot of people were talking about you after the fight.
Hey, man, I just feel blessed and lucky that I had the opportunity to get back in the UFC and against somebody like Nate, man. And I just wanted to make sure that I capitalized on my opportunity, and everything seemed like it went well. And I'm very happy. I'm very excited for what's next. You know, I was hoping for a title shot, but hey, you know, I mean, I got to earn my dues like everybody else.
Well, you know, being from San Jose, what did it mean to you to be back there, you know, putting on that performance in front of that crowd?
I mean, I love it. I love fighting in San Jose. I love all the fans here. I love people all the way from the Bay, Sacramento. I mean, everyone comes down to support us, and I mean, I love it, man. I love fighting here in San Jose. I love the fans here, so it's nothing better than here.
Well, we're also at the MMA Evolution Expo. You were helping out with the jiu-jitsu section. I mean, what did you think about that whole time? It looked like you were having fun. You were involved with a couple good guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I mean, I'm obviously part of Checkmat, which is the one, the team that's throwing this event, and I can't say enough, man. You got Leandro Vieira, you got, you know, I mean, it's crazy, man. You got Robinho, you got everybody here. So Leo, and you got, you know, I mean, everybody here, plus all the AKA mixed in with Checkmat, and it's phenomenal to have all these athletes out here. And I love just watching the kids get after it, and so it's great to see, you know, Leo Vieira and Leandro Vieira, and then like all of our students' kids just mixing in with each other and having a good time, and you know, and just really being aggressive and attacking in their jiu-jitsu, and I think it's amazing.
Well, I only had two more things for you. Recently, Nate said he still thought you were scared during the fight. I don't know if you heard anything about that. I mean, what does it mean to you to, you know, you go out there, you put on a really good show, you were able to finish, and to have a guy, you know, say something like that. Do you take anything from that, or you just move on?
I just move on. I mean, like, take it what it is, you know. It is what it is. I don't have anything to say. I've heard about it. I haven't read it, but like I said, it is what it is.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, I mean, a performance like that against Nate Diaz, the guy's already been in a UFC title fight. Where do you think that puts you in the ranks? You're able to hop right back in. I know you haven't put together a streak yet as your first one, but I mean, that's a big one. Where do you think that puts you in the UFC's echelon right now?
You know, I really don't know. I mean, it's you know, it's up to the UFC on where they want to put me and how they want to rank me and stuff. And like I said, I'm just excited to be back in the UFC. I'm excited I was able to capitalize on a great opportunity that they gave me, and you know, and hoping to move right into a title shot, you know, sooner rather than later. And you know, and I just got to keep winning. You know what? Everyone said this, and I've said this before. I think you hear professional athletes say this, football players, contracts and things like that, and the money, it'll take care of itself. Just worry about what you're doing. And for me, I just worry about being a fighter, and worry about keep getting better at my craft, and you know, all that money stuff and all that title talk, everything, that'll all take care of itself. It's just a matter of me just continue to be you know, get better at what I do, and all that stuff will handle itself.
Well, you can find more coverage at SRMA.com. Thanks so much for your time, Josh.
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
You're back on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. We're here in studio with Shro. Shro, you know we're going to be getting back into some UFC coverage soon, but I wanted to ask you what your particular thoughts are on the quotes that I had read that Nate Diaz had said. I know you hadn't heard the Thompson interview, but what did you think about the quotes?
Typical of a Diaz brother. Honestly, Thompson, he had almost the game plan that Carlos Condit had against Nate's brother, I think. Standoffish. And then the funny thing is, I think those that have read my previous work for SRMMA.com or heard us talk in earlier episodes of Verbal Scrap, they know that I don't like the Diaz brothers, but they are good fighters. But the problem is people are picking apart their game now. And I think they're finding weaknesses. And one of the standoffish, elusive, lot of movement, get in, get out, that's how you beat them. And people finally are figuring that out. And one thing for sure, you don't go to the ground with them. If you do, you get up real quick.
Yeah, I've grown to like the Diaz brothers way more and more and more and more every time I watch them
as fighters.
You know,
I
just enjoy them. But it's like every time, you know, I'm really getting into them, then this to me doesn't seem necessary. I mean, it might be literally how he feels, which is totally fine to feel that way. You can think whatever you want, but I don't think he has to say that. To say, I mean, I don't even know the point he's trying to make. I mean, what's to gain out of it? You know, is he going to get a rematch with Thompson? Is he going? I mean, what does he want?
The same thing would happen.
You know, but you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. So
it really doesn't, and it's. I would like to think that the UFC fighters as a whole are moving away from this. You still see hyping a fight Just the trash talking. Everybody loves to trash talk, but after you had your corner throwing a towel,
and that's another thing. To be fair, he clearly got finished.
Yeah,
and his corner threw in the towel. So I mean, it's not like he doesn't have people around him that thought, hey, maybe you've had enough today. So it just doesn't seem right. That's the only thing.
Or maybe for future fighters, get in there and make a bunch of woman sounds.
Or you could do that too.
Apparently it's working. I don't know.
Do that. Do like some tennis. Venus Williams. Ha! I guess if that's what's got to get done, but it doesn't seem to make sense. Also, here on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, you might be checking us out our RSS feed or on iTunes. You can download us with all your favorite podcasts. Justin Buchholz's going to be defending his title coming up this weekend, May 10th. Here's a little bit of a preview before we get him back into some more UFC coverage.
Justin Buchholz, Showdown Fights lightweight champion. This UFC veteran has called upon a wealth of knowledge and experience to earn that belt. He's beaten 3 of Showdown's best lightweights, and now he will have to do it again. This time against Gordon the Flash Bell. This Utah native comes in with an impressive 9-1 record and only one thing on his mind.
I'm one of the last Utah boys still left that's going to have the tools to put him away, so I want that belt back in Utah. Utah deserves to have that belt. It's a Utah show. Utah boys are going to take it home.
Well, I say 3 other guys from Utah who are better than you thought the same thing, and the belt stayed in California, and that's where it's going home. Bottom line, there's no way he's leaving with my belt.
There you go. You can check out more coverage at Showdown Fights. Find them on Facebook. Going to be fighting May 10th. Justin Buchholz versus Bell. Now I want to get back into some UFC coverage. Also on the card was Bisping versus Belcher. I mean, what were your thoughts coming into this matchup? What did you think each fighter had to do to get this win?
The funny thing is coming into the fight, I wasn't listening to anything. I wasn't going on looking at interviews because I knew it was going to be more the same, more the chirping in the corner and he's stupid and no, he's stupid. I'm going to punch him and no, I'm going to punch him. So going into the fight, I felt that Bisping was going to have the stand-up advantage, and it turned out that he did. I didn't think it was going to be as one-sided as it was. I don't know if Belcher had an adrenaline dump or what, but Bisping came up, and his stand-up was looking fantastic. His gas tank was looking fantastic, and, I mean, that was all she wrote.
Well, the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast brought to you by OneFitBody.net. Check out all kinds of stuff. They got integrated massage therapy systems as well as gym fitness. So like I said, OneFitBody.net for more details. Let's listen to some highlights.
Our co-main event of the evening was Michael Bisping, the Count, the 4th rated middleweight in the world. He took on number 10, Alan Belcher. Brian?
Yeah, and there was absolutely no groundwork in this fight, which we expected it to be a lot on the feet, but I thought that this fight would hit the mat at some point. I thought Michael Bisping would do his patented game plan to really mix up and wearing you down with takedowns and strikes, but it was Michael Bisping's boxing that was really the difference in this fight. He just outlanded Allen. The closest round of the fight was actually round 1, in my opinion, and Belcher started to fade in rounds 2 and rounds 3, and Michael Bisping just kept pouring it on, really finding a home for both his jab and his overhand right. He really did a great job of mixing it up, and inside that boxing range, did a great job against Alan Belcher.
And this is where I say Michael Bisping is sneaky good. Because on paper, you see Belcher like, okay, well, Belcher's a better striker. Not in this case. One thing that Michael Bisping did more than anything, he kept punches and bunches and kept that steady pressure. That steady pressure moving forward is exactly what got him this win. But it was actually the eye poke here. It was a nasty eye poke. Great performance by Bisping, but the eye poke right here is something right there.
And he's already had an eye injury in the past, came back from one, a very gory eye injury. That is how the fight ended right there, and Michael Bisping, he picks up the victory, as you see.
And big to know that eye poke was with about 50 seconds left in the fight, so it wasn't a big turn of events, didn't limit Alan Belcher going through.
Now, what did you think about Alan Belcher's eye injury first after the fight?
I thought it was unfortunate. I don't think it's not something that was intentional.
It sucks that it was the last minute too. It was like
30 seconds.
Wish
left.
I could have got out of that.
However, I think with it being 30 seconds left and the one-sidedness of that fight, It just didn't matter. I mean, there was no way that in that 30 seconds there was going to be a Hail Mary from Belcher. It just wasn't going to happen.
Well, where do you think Bisping sits, as far as the division? And what do you think about him getting back at a run at the title shot? Do you think it's possible?
It's highly possible. It's highly possible. I mean, he's got the gas tank to go long rounds. He's got the stand-up ability. I mean, he's going to be a dangerous fighter for quite a while. The problem is, I mean, that division is so stacked, and I feel like, there's a few fighters ahead of him that, still, they're just playing ahead of him, still deserve more shots than he's getting right now.
Well, here on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, we're going to be doing a little segment now called Firing Line with your co-host, Shro, and we'll get into it. I'm going to go with right away. Is that correct?
Right away. Actually, right now. So, Firing Line, guys, remember, if you want to ask our boy Johnny Waugh some questions, email me, shro@srmma.com, and if your question is good enough, we'll go ahead and ask it right here on the show.
And Shro is spelled S-C-H-R-O-E, just so you know.
Exactly, and put under the subject line, Firing Line, questions for me. Since we were just talking about it there, buddy, those of you who don't know that obviously Johnny Waugh is a big fan of the sport. He also has, when he was a wee lad, some experience in the ring. And I want to ask you now, since we were just talking about it, is there anything that you think can be done to make the gloves safer?
You mean MMA gloves? Boxing? What do you mean?
MMA gloves. Is there any way to negate eye pokes without eliminating grappling? Do you feel that that's even possible?
I really don't. I really don't. I don't think there's any way you can. I mean, you can't. The only way the glove is designed the way it is to give the hand free range
for grappling,
as much as possible range, and that's not completely free, but free range to grab and handle things. And the more you limit them, the more they're just going to become boxing gloves. And everyone knows you really can't grapple well with boxing gloves.
Yeah, we found
it's
that
hard
out.
to sink that in, and it's real easy to stop submissions when they got boxing gloves on. You can just hey, no problem. So yeah, I don't really think there's anything that could be done for that. I think it just is unfortunate. It's like, it's like football. Hard hits that really hurt somebody, they're unfortunate, but people get hit hard every single game.
Well, with that in mind too, would you like to see any type of fining system
for eye pokes?
For eye pokes.
I mean, maybe they could do some repeat offender type stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, you seem to poke 10 guys in the eye. Maybe we're gonna fine you if you seem to poke 5 more. But I mean, like Bisping, I'm sure he's got poked in the eye, and I'm sure it didn't make him happy. So it's just unfortunate. I don't think there should be, because once you start finding it, then it's like, well, who determines which ones are on purpose? It's just too much. It's just too much.
All right, second question. With the performance of
nice song, by the way. I just want to say Pantera. Nice song.
Of course. With the performance of our man Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis, do you feel at this point, is Phil Davis ready to take on top 5 fighters in the 205 division?
Phil Davis got that decision victory over Vinny. I'm always bad with this name, but Vinny Magalhães.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said it because I wasn't even going to try.
Light heavyweight division. He has fought top 5. He fought Rashad.
But is he ready to get back into the top 5?
I mean, I think the truest test of that is to put him in the top 5 fight that he won. I think that's the best test of it. It's like, just like Rashad was the fight that everyone was like, okay, Phil Davis, he's going to fight Rashad. Let's see where both of them are at. Where's Rashad? Where's Phil? I think he can get another fight like that, and I think he probably deserves it. He's a good talent, and he's still young, and he's got a good record. And yeah, losing one time it's not like college football. You lose once, your season's over forever. You have to wait till next year. You could get back into it with Chael Sonnen got a title shot.
Is there anybody in particular that you would want to see him fight now? That would be a good matchup between them?
I'd like to see him fight a guy with some hands, but they'd be in different divisions. I thought him and Brian Sand would be a sweet matchup. But, they're both doing their different things right now. So
yeah, against Vinny, I mean, his boxing looked phenomenal.
Yeah, but I think, to answer your question, yeah, I think they should give him at least a top 10 matchup. That's a solid matchup for sure.
All right, since we alluded to it earlier in the show, how confident are you that we are going to see Jones versus Silva?
Jones versus Silva? Well, what's weird is when, a while ago, Jones and Silva on some level, but mostly Jones said, hey, I don't even want to fight. This fight shouldn't even happen. I don't even, and then they both, basically the reasoning was they both lose. if one of them loses, they lose endorsements, they lose all the sponsorship, or at least they perceive it to be that way, and no one wants to lose, so there was a lose-lose for both sides. But like I said, Dana White seems to be the guy that's like, no, we'll make it happen. And I think it's a bad thing at times because you get things like throw Sonnen at Jones. But it's also a good thing at times because it's like, well, if those two fighters don't want to fight, UFC could say, okay, well, here's the contract. Would you like to sign it? Okay, well, you can.
Would you like our money? Would you like to earn money here?
No problem. So, yeah, I think it's a possibility the more Dana White wants it to happen.
Do you want to put a percentage on it as of now?
I'll go 70.
70%?
I'll go 70. I think because the push is on. I think that's why. The more the push is on, the more things happen. The more people want Diaz to fight GSP, the more things happen. The more people want Ronda Rousey in the UFC, the more things happen. Just how it goes.
All right, buddy. Thanks again for letting me derail your show. That was Firing Line. Again, if you want to ask Johnny Wah any questions, email me, Schroe, SCHROE, at SRMMA.com. Subject line, Firing Line.
You're listening to the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. So much in store. We got WSOF coverage with Dave the Badman Huckaba, an interview with him. We got an AOW preview with Buddy Wallace taking on DJ Roberson. And also, can't forget the WFC 5 coverage. We got the amateur card, also the main events of the evening. All that stuff in store. But first, I'm going to get into our musical guests, the Bell Boys. They're a Sacktown band, local guys. I actually saw them at the Crocker Art Museum once, and I was asking Tro before if it made me sound real hipster to say that. And if it does, I'm going to say I saw everything at the Crocker Art Museum.
Were you wearing a shawl while you were there? Because then, yes, highly hipster.
Man, what
you have
was
a
I
scarf
wearing?
On.
I think I was wearing toe
like
shoes.
that.
Are toe shoes hipster? They were shiny and like green.
It's pretty borderline.
Whatever.
It's like hipster / homeless.
Thanks, man. You can check out the Bell Boys. This song is called The Black Shoes, White Cars, and you can check them out on Facebook, The Bell Boys. We'll be back with more coverage right after this.
We were perfectly misguided. We've mistaken this for gold. We were caught in black and white with all our colors on the floor. We were perfectly misguided. We've mistaken this for gold. We were caught in black and white with all our colors on the floor. All our colors on the floor. All our colors on the floor.
The Bellboys on Facebook. Thank those guys for putting out some real good stuff. I hope to see more of them. You're on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. We are here with Shro in studio. We just went through some of the UFC 159 coverage. So much more to get in store. One of our sponsors, Midtown Village Cafe on 19th and I. You can get a coffee. Pretty soon you'll be getting a brew there. They're going to have some tasty new ales. So check those guys out soon. MidtownVillageCafe.com. They got a whole bunch of events coming up, some concerts, open mics, comedy shows. So check them out. Like I said, Midtown Village. You can also find them on Facebook. Now, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the UFC 159 post-fight presser. Did you get a chance to see any of that, my friend?
I actually watched the whole thing.
That is fantastic. I'm going to play a little snippet for the fans, and we'll go ahead and wrap up our UFC 159 coverage.
What did you think of the finish of the fight? I mean, Chael complained a little bit, and then later, obviously, in his interview, he said he had no complaint. But did you, were you hitting him with the shots that you felt like it deserved to be stopped at that point?
No, I to be honest with you, I felt as if the fight was stopped a little on the early side. A lot of times when you get a fighter ground and pound another fighter, the fighter gasses himself out trying to finish the fight. I was definitely trying to finish the fight, and I was also trying to be aware not to gas myself out. And then it was over. I don't want to get the referee into anything, but I think Chael could have had a little more time to try to survive.
Can you take some solace in the fact that others have fought John and been hesitant? You did not. You went right after him.
That's the only game I know. If you're going to go fight a guy, go fight a guy. It drives me crazy. People are out talking about Anderson and John. These guys should be calling Dana right now, begging him to fight each other. And it's not going to go that way. You got these two guys, and they're great. But they're a couple of chickens. They should be calling each other out. They should grab the mic and say, I want to fight that guy. I don't want the debate. I want to get this figured out. Dana, give me a date. Give me a time. Let me fight him. And it won't happen that way. Dana's going to have to call these guys, and then they're going to have to dangle a carrot. Then they're going to want to negotiate. We're in the fight business. If you don't want to fight, don't raise your hand.
And my next question is for...
It actually did happen tonight. Anderson called and wants a fight tonight, so it did happen. Anderson called tonight, and Anderson wants a fight. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I'm going to get to work on it as soon as possible.
Let me see your thoughts, Ro.
At the end of that, if you continue to play that, he alluded that it was either between GSP or John Jones.
Which one would you rather see more?
John Jones.
Well, what do you think about the two differences in matchups? I mean, really quickly, what do you think is the matchup that is better, and why?
Well, the matchup of Anderson Silva versus John Jones is better because of purely the body size. I feel that if GSP got in the ring with Anderson Silva,
I like that.
He's a strong man, but I don't think that GSP would not negotiate changing weight class. I think he would. The only way he would take the fight is if Anderson dropped all the way down to 175, which maybe GSP would be stronger because that's what he naturally fights at. And dropping that much weight for Anderson would...
But your percentage is for Jones. He's probably going to make the Jones-Silva fight.
I am highly positive. I'm like 95%.
You heard it here on the Verbal Scrap Podcast. 41st episode. Shro is, what, 95% positive?
95% that John Jones is going to fight Anderson Silva after the Silva-Weidman fight.
Well, if you like what you're hearing, you're checking us out on SRMA.com, comprehensive website full of combat coverage. If you're interested in contributing, writing, getting involved with video, photography in any way, you can email jw@srma.com. And we're here. We're going to be talking more with boxing. Floyd Mayweather fought Guerrero. We'll have a little bit of highlights. But I wanted to get quickly into the WFC 5. For you guys that don't know, West Coast Fighting put on their 5th event. The main event of the evening was fantastic. Keto Andrews versus Max Griffin. But the amateur portion of the card, we got to split up in two parts. First, Sammy Gifford was able to beat Rocky Reyes by a split decision. We were able to catch up with both of them. So first, let's hear Reyes, and then we'll hear Sammy Gifford.
All right, this is Angelo Avila from SRMMA.com. I'm here with the Mudville Slugger, Rocky Abraham Reyes. Rocky, tough fight tonight. Talk to us about it.
Hold on, let me eat some pie first. Hold on. It was a tough fight. It was a little awkward leading up to it, because Sammy's he's got a Christian background like I do, and we're very similar as far as being family men and being respectful and honorable. Something that's kind of a lost start in a way, kind of like what you had posted on Facebook on some of that stuff. So it was a little awkward, but it was tough nonetheless, man. All my fights are tough because I'm 5'4". So, and the kid was ripped. But I thought he would have opened up with the strikes a little bit more. He kind of threw me off because he was really really bouncy. And with them long arms, it just kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. But
go ahead. You seemed to turn the tide in the second round. That seemed to be the deciding round. You were able to control the top position grappling. He seemed to get the better of it in the first round by scrambling. Then towards the end of the second, and for most of the third, you were controlling the top game. Is that what you wanted to do, or what were some things that some adjustments you wish you could have made later on in the fight?
Yeah, you want to come be part of this interview?
And we've got us.
Yeah, we got Sammy here.
Right here. Sammy
right here. So I mean, ideally, I wanted to kickbox with him. I've been doing a lot of kickboxing my whole camp, really, and I haven't really touched the ground. But like I say, he just kind of threw me off, and the grappling was there, and he left a lot of space for me. We actually talked about that earlier, but that's like my second nature is grappling. So once that was there, he left a space, and I was able to get some reversals. There were some scrambles. He was on top, I was on top, but yeah, that third round was definitely mine, and he got tired by the end of the first. He was getting tired already.
What were some adjustments looking back you wish you would have made to kind of combat the first round? Gifford came out with some really good scrambles. He came out on top on those scrambles.
I probably should have threw my hands a little bit more. Really tried to push when I was on top, landing strikes. He had me tied up pretty good, so it was really hard for me to throw some good bombs from the top. Just try to open up more of my ground and pound. Because some of the judges don't see the knees that I throw from side control when I'm on top, because you really can't see them depending on where you're at. So I should have opened up with my hands more when I was on top.
And what's next for you, Rocky? When are you going to fight again?
I am fighting June 1st. Looks like I'll be fighting Chris Avila at a Cesar Gracie Lodi. He's looking for somebody with experience, and apparently he asked for me. So it's a little awkward because he was at San Cal MMA for a while when I was there. But you know what? I'm a fighter, and we're going to fight.
Thank you so much, Rocky.
You're welcome.
And standing right next to him, Sammy Gifford. Sammy, you're victorious tonight via split decision. Talk to us about the fight. You were really aggressive out of those scrambles, and you came on top in the first round. And then toward the second, Rocky started to kind of turn the tide a little bit. What was going on?
Yeah, I wanted to come out and use my length on him. I have a 5 or 6 inch height advantage on him, so I wanted to use my jab, work the leg kicks. I got a little tight on him. I landed a good stiff jab to start the fight, threw the kick, and of course he grabbed my leg, shoots in for the takedown, gets it. I felt like I had the speed advantage and the length advantage. I wasn't ready for the strength that Rocky had, and the weight cut I ended up finding out was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be, and the end of that second round, man, I was hurting, and Rocky really took advantage of that in the third. Second round was up for grabs. I think that was definitely the one where it could have gone either way, and maybe I just had that one takedown that got it for me, and if I don't get that, then Rocky's the one getting his hand raised tonight.
Rocky was entering his 9th amateur fight, and you were entering your 3rd. Was the experience somewhat of a factor towards the end of the fight?
No, cardio was a factor at the end of the fight. My pride and joy is working out and cardio, and for some reason tonight it disappeared, and I really think that I was dehydrated like I've never been before, and even after the doctor said you're dehydrated really bad. So
you did make it underweight. You weighed in at I believe 141. Are you going to stay at 145, or are you going to go back up to 155, or what's the plan for you?
I hit 143 2 days before, woke up the next morning at 140, which was not okay, 5 pounds under the weight, and that's not what I was trying to do. It made me feel like I can hit 35, but at the same time I really was struggling tonight, so we'll see. I'm definitely going to take my next fight at 145, and I'm going to weigh in at 145, so I won't let that happen again. And I learned from this, definitely, and I totally respect Rocky. That was the coolest thing about this fight, is we went in respecting each other, we left the cage respecting each other. Hats off to Rocky and his camp, know, I honestly was not ready for the strength that he possessed when I train with people. Nobody can hold me down at 145, man, but he's a strong cat, and I know that my cardio had to do with that a little bit, but he didn't give up. He got the good tight grips in the third round, and he wasn't going to let me up. That's all there is to it, and it was a great fight. You know, I hats off to him, and I look forward to getting back in the cage and performing a hell of a lot better.
Well, congratulations, Sammy. Hard-fought, earned victory, and we can't wait for your next throwdown at the cage.
Thank you, sir.
Also on the card, Thomas Fallon was able to win the heavyweight amateur championship by getting a TKO in the first round at the 131 mark over Terrell Big Baby Boson. Angelo Villa of SRMMA.com caught up with him after the fight, so let's hear what he had to say.
This is Angelo Villa from SRMMA.com. I'm here with the new West Coast Fighting Championships amateur heavyweight champion. Thomas, how does that sound?
Sounds good, man. I worked my ass off for this. I specifically wanted a guy with a lot of fights and a lot of experience, someone dangerous, and I got what I asked for, and I performed way better than I could ever hope for.
You threw a plethora of leg kicks in that fight. Was that the strategy going in? You must have connected quite a few.
I saw him quit before in the fight to leg kicks, and I got to tell him, I got to say, I kicked him way harder than the last guy did, and he took them all, man. So he's a tough guy.
And talk us through the finish of the fight and how you're able to stop him in the first round.
Well, you know, once I felt I kicked him in the leg, and he caught me with a real solid hook, and maybe even a straight punch. And I knew right there that his power, not to be cocky, but I wasn't afraid of his power as soon as I felt it. I trained with Dave and Josh and a lot of other real savage warriors, and once I felt his power, I just got in his face, and I knew he didn't have anything for me.
The word on the street is you're going pro. What's the future for you?
Well, I'm going to take some time, work on my diet, try to get down to about 220, and then I'm going to try and go pro as a light heavyweight.
Thank you, Thomas. Congratulations.
Thank you, Angelo.
West Coast.
Hey, just so everybody out there knows, Angelo Villa from SRMMA gave me my hardest fight to date. Remember that.
Also on the card, Benito the Golden Boy Lopez of Team MMA was able to win his 4th amateur belt and keep his undefeated streak alive before heading to Greg Jackson's camp for a little bit of training for the next couple of months at West Coast Fighting. He was able to beat Michael Hutchinson by submission in the first round. We caught up with him after the fight, so let's hear what he had to say.
It's JWA from SRMA.com. We're here live at WFC 5. We're talking to Benito Lopez, 135-pound champion. I mean, you went out there, you did it again. What do you think about this one? You're just racking up the wins, and this one kind of went the same way for you, another first-round finish.
I feel great, man. Got hit a few times this time, but I felt great. Tough opponent. I'm glad it was a tough fight.
Well, as far as the fight was concerned, I mean, what did you think about coming out there? You know, you had a couple good fights before you. A lot of people were looking at you coming into this card as on the amateur card. I mean, what do you think about the recognition you've been gaining lately?
It's awesome. I mean, I've been getting a lot of attention in the media, everything. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot more for this fight. It's just awesome.
Well, this particular fight, you were able to get another first-round finish. You looked for a second like you were going to get that mountain triangle again. I mean, when you're on the bottom and you have that triangle position, are you looking to switch over? I mean, are you ever really looking for the triangle when you're on your back?
No. I'm always looking to sweep and start pounding them out. But I swept him once and he rolled through perfect. And then I was trying to go a second time, but he kept scrambling. So I just decided to try to finish it from there, and I did. He hit me a few times, pretty solid, though.
Something I was going to ask you, it looked like right away he was coming out ready to go, and he was looking to land strikes early. I mean, what did you think about his aggression and how he was able to come out from the opening bell?
I was expecting him to come out really aggressive. All his fights, he's done that, so I was expecting that. I wasn't expecting the spinning kicks, though. That was pretty intense. That's something I thought I'd do. Yeah. He said when I threw the head kick, it caught him right on his jugular, so he was hurt and started throwing those. But I don't know if he was hurt, but he started throwing after that, and then he shot in.
Something I wanted to ask you, now you're definitely going to be going training with Greg Jackson. I mean, what do you think about the opportunity now? And it's coming up, so I mean, what do you think about leaving at this point in your life and where you're at right now?
I'm really excited and I'm really nervous, man. I don't know what to expect, just the best of the best, but I know I'm going to get homesick, miss my grandma, miss my family and my city, but I'll be on Skype a lot.
Well, I want to ask you, obviously, last thing, shout-outs, but the one thing before you let you go, I mean, what do you think the experience is going to bring you down there?
I think it's going to take me to the next level. I think I'm going to come back with the confidence to fight anyone and hopefully go pro soon. We'll see what happens. I'm feeling good.
Well, last thing, shout-outs to who you got to thank for this one.
Yeah, I got to thank my head coach, Jason Peets, Kyle Lima, Glenn Cordoza, Josh Hinkle, Stanley MMA, my sponsors, all my sponsors, and my manager, Dave Hirschbein.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you for talking to us, Benito.
Thank you, Johnny. You're the man.
Also on the card, Anthony Hernandez was coming back from his King of the Cage loss to go for the West Coast Fighting Amateur Middleweight title, defending that title against Eric Smith. He was able to pull out a submission in the second round by armbar. We caught up with Hernandez after the fight, so let's hear his comments.
This is Angelo Avila from SRMMA.com. I'm here with Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, defends his West Coast Fighting Championships Amateur Middleweight Championship. How does it feel, Anthony?
Feels good. I got my butt whipped for the first round, but, you know, you just got to come out strong and never give up. That's the key to success.
This is a rematch from a fight earlier. He seemed to make a few adjustments from that fight. He seemed to really work the clinch a lot.
Yeah, he did really good. Eric's a really cool guy. I talked to him after the fight. He's a real cool guy. We're going to start hooking up, training together. He's gotten a lot stronger. He's improved his game. I'll give him that.
What adjustments did you make in the second round to finish with that armbar?
I just got really mad because he got kneed in the balls, and I was like, I'm going to break this arm. I had to go for it.
Well, congratulations, Anthony, and we look forward to your next fight.
You're hearing the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, the best 41st show period. SRMMA.com's podcast is brought to you by MMA Gold, their fight management team and apparel. Check out their gear at the store at MMAGold.com. All the money goes right back into the fighters. Like I said, MMAGold.com for more information. Now we're going to get into some UFC on FX8. Vitor Belfort, Luke Rockhold, Strikeforce middleweight champion coming over. Going to be fighting Vitor Belfort. What do you think about this potential matchup? And do you have any background with both of these gentlemen, sir?
Of course I do, because Belfort is a legend, and because our Brazilian correspondent Ty Silva is not here, I'll speak for him by saying that Belfort is a beast. He's a beast. He's a beast. And looking at this fight right now, it seems that Luke Rockhold is out of his element. I like the guy. He's 10-1 right now. He's doing very well. I don't think he's faced the talent that Belfort is. So right now, I am definitely leaning forward. I mean, normally I would just go against Ty Silva, just be like, no, the other guy's going to win.
Totally not the Brazilian, right?
But no, this time I got to go. I mean, Rockhold, he's got that rear naked choke that he loves, but Belfort's not going to get caught by it. His BJJ is just too strong, and I'm going to have to go for Belfort.
Well, let's hear a little bit of Rockhold's words before we get a little bit more into this.
As Brazilian MMA star in Brazil.
I'm excited. Obviously, Vitor is a big star here in Brazil, and I've never fought here, but I'm looking forward to fighting here. It's there's a lot. I have some fans here, and I'm hoping to have some more fans after I beat Vitor. So it is what it is. I got to fight Vitor, and I got to fight him here. But
why do you think that Belfort is going to be pulling out this victory exactly?
I feel that his experience is just going to trump Rockhold. All the way around. I think his experience, and I mean, he's got the age thing. Belfort's 36. I think Rockhold is 28. But still, I don't think the age is going to really make any difference as far as a gas tank. Belfort is, it's just the experience, man. I got to go with that. And the fact that Rockhold, he clearly loves that rear naked choke. I mean, he's got the power to knock people out. He's done it, but I just don't see him finishing Vitor Belfort.
Well, coming up May 25th, Art of War is going to be having their next event at the Chicken Ranch Casino. You can check out AOWMMA.com for more information. It's going to be Buddy Wallace taking on DJ Roberson for a title eliminator fight. We caught up with both the fighters, so let's first hear Buddy Wallace and his thoughts on the upcoming bout.
It's JWA from SRMA.com. We're here live with Buddy Wallace. You're going to be fighting soon on the 25th, title eliminator bout. What do you think about DJ Roberson, your coming opponent?
I'm excited. He looks explosive. He looks like a good fighter, and I feel like he's going to bring out the best of me, so I'm excited for the fight.
He's definitely a bigger, more stocky guy and got a lot of muscle on him. Are you getting used to the guys that are bigger than you and taking them on inside the cage?
Yeah, I hop around. I feel like that's kind of where I made my mistake my last fight. I was, going up a weight class, but I feel like he's not going to be much bigger than the other guys I face, so I'm really not too worried about size.
Well, your last bout, Pearson's, is there anything positive you take from that and translate it into this upcoming fight?
Oh yeah, it made me hungry again. And I was getting a little too comfortable. I was 5-0. I was getting a little overconfident, and now I'm back to where I should be. I'm hungry, and I just can't wait to get in there and prove how I could really fight.
Is the Roberson fight the only thing you have planned this year, or do you have plans for the rest of the year already?
That's the first step, but then the title is what I'm looking at in August. I'm not going to look past Robertson, but that's what I'm expecting to look forward to, and whatever else comes my way.
Well, coming into this fight, I mean, how do you visualize this? I mean, what do you see him bringing your way, and how do you ideally want this one to go?
He looks like he likes to stand and bang, so I think it's going to be an exciting fight for the crowd. I want to stand right there with him. I want to go toe-to-toe. If it ends up on the ground, it'll go there, but I don't have any plans. I just want to go out there and react to whatever goes on throughout the fight and see how it goes.
Last thing I wanted to ask you, Last Stand Fight Team got a lot of talented guys. How's preparation been for this fight, knowing you got a lot of people in the gym that are fighting and competing all around you?
Yeah, it feels great. I've been helping Angel get ready for his Spong fight, and we're all just clicking. We're all training really hard. We're not taking it easy on each other at all, so it feels great to be pushing each other, and we all know we're going to be ready for our fight.
Will you check out AOW MMA for ticket information and SRMMA.com for more details? Thank you so much for talking to us, buddy.
All right, thank you too.
We also caught up with his opponent, DJ Roberson of Team Alpha Male, so let's hear his thoughts.
It's JWA from SRMA.com. We're talking to DJ Roberson. You're going to be fighting Art of War coming up later this month. You're going to be fighting for a title eliminator. I mean, what do you think about the potential matchup that Buddy Wallace brings your way coming this co-main event? And I believe now that they might be moving it up. So what do you think about what he brings your way?
Well, I know he's a tough fighter. He's got a good record, comes out of a tough camp. So I expect fireworks, but I'm ready nevertheless. I feel at one with myself right now as far as my mental, my physical, my MMA is coming together. So, I expect a good, tough fight, but anything can happen. He's a good, tough dude, and I look forward to meeting him in the cage.
Well, how's training been going with Team Alpha Male? You got a lot of guys that are either fighting for titles or have fought for titles recently. I mean, what's the atmosphere been like in camp?
It's been awesome, man. There's always a lot of good energy going around. It's always positive in there. Those guys push me, to my limits. I also got to give props to my old team Carnage, for getting me started, and also to my trainer and mentor Burrito, who's helped me a lot tremendously in the past 6 months. And I'm just putting it all together, man. All my weapons are clicking on the right cylinders. So with all the hype going around in our gym, is just positive flow and positive energy, man. And I'm gonna just use it to put forth to my fight.
Well, Buddy Wallace, he's a really talented wrestler. He uses that really well in his fights to his advantage. You're more known as a striker, but I know you obviously have the wrestling abilities training with Team Alpha Male and such. What do you think Buddy Wallace's best attributes coming against you are, and what do you feel like you are going to be able to do to counter those, or to be able to take that fight coming from him?
Well, I'm not going to strategize too much. It's a fight. It's not a wrestling match. It's not a boxing match. I'm just going to use my physical attributes, my mind, my fight IQ, and just to dominate the fight from beginning to end. I got to dictate the pace. I just can't give him anything because I know he's a tough guy and he's got a good iron will. But we're both human. It's who strikes first and who strikes last. I know he's a tough grappler, but like you said, I've spent a lot of time grappling with the Alpha Male guys, and those guys are top ranked in the world. So, and I've also done a lot of outside training with some other guys, and just mixing it all up as far as my striking and grappling, and I'm prepared for anything. So hope he is too, because it's going to be it's going to be a tough, hard fight. He's got a lot to eat.
Well, I only had two more things for you. I mean, when you visualize this fight, I mean, how do you see it going, and what's the way it plays out the most in your head?
I visualize it many ways. Me dominating him, getting the better of me, and me coming back. Usually doesn't go as you planned, so I'm just mentally prepared for anything, man. I'm just going to move around and mainly have fun. I don't want to put too much stress on myself, because, you don't want to think too much. You want to go in there and just, let things happen, and that's what I want to do. That's what Team Alpha Male guys do. We go in there, we just let it hang out, keep our hands up, chin down, and, let the rest just work for itself. So I know it's going to be a good fight, man. He's a banger. He's going to stab. He's going to try and get in my face and get tough, and that's what I look forward to, man. I'm accepting the challenge. I got God on my side, and, I'm really excited about the opportunities of Art of War presenting me. I was a little worried I wasn't going to fight, in May and all the training, but something deep down told me to stay ready. ready, and I got blessed with this opportunity, man, and I really look forward to it. I like Art of War Productions. They've taken care of me, and I look forward to doing a lot of business with them. So it's looking up for me, man. I know this is my year to come out and let everybody know what the Black Mamba's about.
Last thing before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs, any thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to my grandmother who just passed away a few weeks ago through cancer. Shout out to my team Alpha Male, to Buddy Wallace in his camp for presenting me with the fight, Art of War Productions, all the people, my teammates, Fearless Mamba, Brito MMA, just all the people who've helped me, to get me where I am today. Carnage Fight Team, Illicit Fightwear, my NutriShop, all my supplements. And if I missed you, I love you, man, and I'll give you shout-outs that night when I do my thing. So I appreciate it, and you too, Johnny Wall, for taking this interview, taking your time, man, and the rest will take care of itself, man. I can't wait to fight and put on a good show.
Well, ticket information can be found at AOWMMA.com and post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you for talking to your time.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Awesome, man.
Remember, that's May 25th, AOWMMA.com for tickets. You can also find post-fight coverage and more pre-fight coverage at SRMMA.com. Also coming up, June 14th, Dave the Badman HUCKABA is going to be traveling to Las Vegas to fight for the MMA of World Series against Holes Gracie, the 8-1 fighter. We were able to catch up with Dave the Badman, so let's hear his thoughts about his upcoming matchup.
This is Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here with Dave the Badman HUCKABA. You got a huge fight coming up June 14th, Vegas. First, how does it feel to be with World Series of Fighting and know that they're going to put you with a guy like Gracie?
Man, it's a great opportunity, man. It's huge for me. I've been running the local game for a while now. You know what I mean? So it's a big step up. I learned my mistakes the first time on Bellator. I fought another guy of that level of jiu-jitsu. I didn't let my hands go. You know what I mean? So I'm sure the whole world, all the people out there are going to see a whole new let your hands go Dave HUCKABA.
Well, about your opponent, Gracie, I mean, he's shown in his one loss that he can be knocked out, and his victories have come by submission. He's only got the one loss. Obviously, this seems like it's going to be a war between your hands, his jiu-jitsu. He's got, obviously, a background in jiu-jitsu being from the Gracie name. I mean, do you feel like he's going to maybe try to surprise you with his hands, or are you really expecting it to be a grand affair for him?
No, everybody says they're going to surprise me with their hands, man, until I hit them one time. That's just the game, you know what I mean? To be honest with you, I got 25 professional fights. I think he's pushing 9. I've been submitted one time in 25 fights. And I've been doing this sport for 9 years. I'm not that easy to submit. My wrestling base, Josh helping me out. We're always working in here with Thomas. I'm always working. I got good work at Casio's Jiu-Jitsu, so I don't know. If he stands with me, it probably won't be a very long fight. You know what I mean? He's long. He's got a lot of torso for me to get at. His jiu-jitsu game, the best thing for him to do is lay and prey on me like Grabowski did.
Well, I wanted to ask you, being the West Coast Fighting Heavyweight Champion, does your deal prohibit you from defending that title in any way, or do you intend on doing that, or are you sticking with World Series of Fighting for the current year?
Well, right now I'm locked down. I can't fight there right now. But you know what I mean. Let me get in here and beat up a couple of people and get that really big name, because I'm 38, but I'm a young fighter. So let's not say that I won't be back here in Sacramento for all my fans defending my title.
Well, being the World Series of Fighting, June 14th, it's going to be on national television, NBC Sports Network. I mean, you obviously had the experience many times in being with Bellator, being on that stage, but NBC and working with World Series of Fighting, do you think with their new network, you might be able to reach fans you didn't before? I mean, what are your thoughts on being on the national stage with those guys?
This is my chance, man. I'm not getting any younger. Let's be real about it all, man. I'm a people person, man. You guys seen me. You guys been around the game for a little bit. On a local network, man, I got the hugest fan base. People know me. They know me with my kids. They know what I'm about. Man, every man in this world wants to make his mark. We all want to be known. We want to be known for something. You know what I mean? I just want the world to know that I'm a hog, man. I got what it takes to fight with the best in the world. This is a starting point for me. Like I said, even though I'm 38, I'm a young heavyweight fighter. I didn't start the sport till I was 31. So let's do the math. A lot of these guys been getting punched, kicked in the head their whole life. I didn't, you know what I mean? That wasn't me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was doing my street thing and doing what I do, but professional, legitimate. I started when I'm 31 years old. Look at my record. I think I got 17 knockouts. My knockout percentage is like 88, 89% out of 20-something fights. You know, that's not a joke. The MMA is not a joke.
Well, I had a couple more things before we let you go. You know, a while ago you were talking about this may be your last year, and then all of a sudden all these things are going right for you. There's so much good stuff, so much positive. I mean, what's the difference in mentality you had before? Where are you at now? What do you think about what you have ahead of you?
Man, I don't know, man. Man, that's a good one because you got me on that one. Believing in prayer, man. I mean, I prayed. I didn't pray for money. I didn't pray for fame. I asked, Lord, is this it for me? You know, if this is what you want, if you want me to stop and just be a stay-at-home dad, if this is what you want me to do, then I need to sign. Either do I need to go on and become something? Do I need to? This is before the Carter Williams fight, you know. I said I want to sign. I'm going to go out here and give it my all, and I need to sign. Well, right before the Carter Williams fight, I got a call to fight a couple other fights. I got a call to fight in Russia for a different organization. I got a couple of things. Those were signs, man. Everything started, and then the Carter Williams fight, it's weird, man. Every fight, I get better and better and better. And I know it's funny, man. I've been gifted, man, and I get these extra tools, and I don't know, man. Let's just say I sat down with my wife and my kids. My wife is my backbone, my son and my daughter, and I was like, okay, what's the plan? This is, you know, what do you guys want Dad to quit? Do you want me to quit? And obviously the kids are like, no, Dad, you're a superstar. All the kids at school, you're the super dad, you know. And my wife's all, babe, you're living the dream. We're living the dream with you. We want you to go. We want you we're in it with you. You know. So, man, all I did was just it was like throwing more gas on a fire. It made everything better for me, you know. Carter Williams' MMA record isn't all that, but his stand-up kickboxing record is legit. And where I beat him up, standing up, you know what I mean? I caught him with a couple of good ones. I ended up ground and pounding him, but that's kind of the way some of the fights did. I didn't get him a sleeper shot, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, one of the last things I wanted to ask, you got a multi-fight deal with them. I mean, what do you think you got to do against a guy like Gracie to start that off right? And what do you, when you visualize the fight, what do you kind of see happening, or what do you idealize?
Man, with Gracie, it's just got to be exciting. It's got to be explosive. I can't let him take me down and lay on me and you know what I mean, and do his thing. It's got to be on your feet. It's got to be explosive. I want to show him that I could defend a takedown. I want to show him that I'm ready for the Andre Arlovski, John Jones. I want to show him that there's names in there. And to be honest, man, Gracie is a great name to fight. Idealistic, it's not a great fight for me. Arlovski would have been a great fight for me. You know what I'm saying? And even who'd I say first?
Johnson.
Yeah, man, those are great opportunities for me, you know what I mean? I'm a big heavyweight right now. I'm pushing 280 pounds. I'm cutting weight for these fights. I'm going to come in at 265 maybe, you know what I mean, right there. This fight's going to be explosive. It is. You're going to see me in a different level. I'm going to try to finish the fight fast. I'm not... In my career, what's left, there will be no more decisions for me, all right? I feel like the Bellator fight was a major fluke for me. I should have beat him up. I felt like I did. I just didn't pull the trigger. If everybody watched it and seen, they'll know what I'm saying. That's not going to happen to me no more. When I see somebody on Queer Street, I'm going to finish it. You know what I mean? I'm going to finish the fight.
Last thing, do you have any shout-outs before we let you go, sir?
Man, Tim with Sack Scrappers, Aquamarine Jewelers always takes care of me. Thomas has been a major help to my gym and my facility. Thomas and even Billy Carruthers, when I'm not here, they run my kids' classes. They help run the gym. Without those guys, I wouldn't have the little hole in the wall. You know what I mean? That's real talk. Man, I got so many other sponsors. I'm at Beat Down Fight Gear, Mike, you know what I mean? I got so many people that help me out. I don't feel rude. They all know. You'll see them on my shorts, Empire Driving School. California bail bonds. we could do this for days, man, because so many people, all my fans, dude, you guys taking that time out of your Friday night. You know, you could be doing a whole bunch of other shit. You guys come down here, hey, Dave, let's get a few minutes of your time. This stuff, man, this builds us all. It builds you guys. It builds me. It builds what we're all trying to do for the MMA community, man. So I want to thank you guys for coming out here, man. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, be excited June 14th because I'm going to let them go.
World Series of MMA fighting, you're going to find Dave Badman Huckaba taking on Roger Gracie June 14th. Find more coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you so much for your time, Dave.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
We are back here on the 41st episode of SRMMA.com's Verbal Scrap Podcast, the best 41st show, period. I'm here with Shro. Shro, how you enjoying the show so far?
You know, I think we're doing well. Think we're
pacing ourselves?
Yeah. I think everything's going pretty well.
Tortoise in the hair. I want to be both. I'm a little bit fast. I'm a little bit slow. It just depends on what I'm doing.
Just as long as we're the best, that's all that matters.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Have you heard, like, anything on ESPN ever? They do a lot of good stuff.
They have a lot of East Coast bias, so since we're on the West Coast...
What about, like, Outside the Lines? You ever... No? Okay, that's cool. Like I said, we're here on the Verbal Scrap Podcast. You can find us on iTunes with some of your favorite podcasts, some of mine, PTI, Around the Horn. You can also download us, subscribe to us. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. So check it out. If you're interested in advertising, you can email info@srmma.com for more information on how to get involved with our website. Floyd Mayweather took on Robert Guerrero. We got video highlights, and we'll get into more.
It's the rich man's world, and that's what Floyd Mayweather Jr. is. There is the ghost, La Fantasma. He came to fight. According to our Dan Rayfield, won the second round, but then the technical, precise approach from Mayweather Jr. So good defensively, he was untouchable and striking when he needed to. Turned out to be a comprehensive effort. He left Guerrero bloodied, and Mayweather Jr. improves to 44-0, 21-0 in title fights.
Floyd Mayweather. Now, whether or not you like him or don't like him, my question is, he's undefeated. How many guys that talk the talk really do walk that undefeated walk? I mean, what do you think an undefeated record like that? Not just like, 10-0, 20-0. He's in his 40s, man. He's got 40-plus wins and no losses. What do you think about that?
I suppose that the record itself would do the talking. I mean, I'm one of those people that fall into I hate boxing. I've never enjoyed it. But when you see someone that has a record like his, it's kind of hard to argue that he's not the best.
That is true. I mean, and he is money. He's always been money, and he always will be money. Like I said, you're on the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Check out SRMA.com soon. We're going to be having our next featured ring girl / model with Courtney Martinez. Shout out to her for making that happen for us. Check it out this week on SRMMA.com. We're going to get back into some WFC 5 main card coverage. Daniel Romero of Team Alpha Male was able to get a first-round victory in 7 seconds, 7-second TKO. We were able to catch up with him after the fight, so let's hear Romero's thoughts.
Straight well from SRMA.com. We're here live at WFC 5 talking to a victorious Daniel Doomsday Romero. I mean, what did you think about, coming out here, getting that the quick finish and pretty much just being offensive the entire time?
I don't know what to say, man. I was surprised it ended so fast, and I had a lot of training going to this fight. I haven't fought in over a year, and I've been getting my butt kicked down at Team Alpha Male for a long time. So I was just ready to go. I just came out, and as soon as it ended, I couldn't believe it was over. I just went emotional, just crazy, just jumped around. I fell on a stool, I just went nuts. So I was just excited. My whole family's here. I sold 100 tickets, so I was just really, really happy that everything worked out.
Well, that's something I was going to ask you about. A lot of people in attendance here to see you, a lot of Team Alpha Male teammates, on the card. I mean, did you feel any sort of pressure coming into this one to perform?
I felt a ton of pressure going into this one. I knew it was my first fight out of Ultimate Fitness, so I knew I just had to put it on for my team. I had to do it. So it was just, it was a do or die kind of thing, so.
Well, what's training been like in Alpha Male? You always seem to have guys that are either going for titles, defending titles, traveling to fight for titles. I mean, what's the atmosphere like in camp training for a fight like this?
It's nuts, man. You have your top guys. You have Chad Mendez, Uriah Faber, Danny Castillo, Justin Buckles, TJ Dillashaw, and then you have 30 other guys that are just as good you haven't heard about, and they're all hungry. So it's a great gym. It's the best gym I've ever been at. I plan on staying there for a long time.
Well, like you said,
you've been out for a little while. I mean, what's the game plan getting back in? I mean, do you have any plans scheduled for the rest of the year, or is this just the first one in many?
This is the first one of many. I plan on getting right back into it. I moved down to Team Alpha Male, and I was just getting my butt kicked day in and day out, dude. I was like, there's a lot of stuff I have to work on. So it was really humbling going to that gym. So I've been working hard, and I felt like I started to compete with the guys in the gym, and I was ready to take a fight. So I took it, and came out here, blew my load, and just jumped around like a madman. So.
Well, last thing, you have any thanks, any shout outs you'd like to give before we let you go?
Yeah, dude, shout out to Team Alpha Male. Team Alpha Male, you guys changed my life. Like, honestly, just the whole atmosphere down there is great. Like, everyone's so encouraging and good, and they're not afraid to just beat you up and then pick you up and say, hey, good job, this is what you did wrong, work on it next time. So big shout out to Team Alpha Male. My whole family was behind me, and a little shout out to BAMF Fight Gear, dude. They threw me some shirts and some shorts with my logo on it and stuff. Just real awesome. real, and I just ran into my weigh-ins yesterday, so that was really cool of them. So everything worked out great.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. Thank you so much for talking to us, Daniel.
All right, thank you.
Also on the card, Nick the KO Christie was able to continue his moniker by getting the first round knockout over Richard the Beast Rig Maiden. I caught up with the kid after the fight, so let's hear Christie's thoughts.
It's JWall from SRMA.com. We're here live at WFC Vive. Post-fight victorious with Nick the KO Kid Christie. Once again, you keep living up to the moniker. I mean, what'd you think about Rig Maiden and what he was able to bring your way?
He hits hard. As you tell, I kind of got buckled. I didn't get dizzy or anything. That's why I recovered so fast. Our last interview about a week ago, I said I was going to stand with him. I heard the interview. He thought that, he wasn't sure if I was going to wrestle, coming out of Ultimate Fitness and training with Team Alpha Male. But I just wanted to give him that chance because I've seen him. He's a tough guy. He's fought tough people, and he's hit them, and they wrestled him. I've been through that. So I wanted to see where he come. I wanted everybody else to see. I could see why you're taking him down. And I got my rhythm kind of slow because they had the intermission. They didn't have one at first, so I had to rush in there. And then my right hand was feeling kind of hurt. So and then when it came together, I just had to make sure when I did throw it, it had to connect. Be a good punch.
Well, a lot of people talking about this fight gave you the advantage with the quickness in hands and Kim a slight advantage in power. This time you're able to show the power goes your way as well. Your quick hands are not only quick but lethal. I mean, what do you think about your consistent KO streak going? And what do you think your hands kind of to say to people or other fighters that may be looking at you?
Well, another reason why I wanted to stand because I really don't want to show what I've been learning down there. My wrestling has just always been okay, but it's been getting better. So if I stood this fight and still did the KO Kid, come next fight, I'm even going to be better on my ground. So if they do try to take me down, that's when it's going to come to play. But like I said, I'm a stand-up fighter. I'm going to come to stand up. And if I had to take you down or whatnot, that's going to happen. I believe I got knocked out of the night. That's what I've been hearing. So I hope that happens. That'll be 2 fights in a row. There was some big name here. I heard Bellator was here. So hopefully we can work together and I can get on a big show.
Well, it's something I wanted to ask you. You recently made a lot of changes in your career, your life, and since your last victory, now you were able to come out and get a big W. I mean, what do you think this says about those choices you made and what track you're on right now?
Like I said before, everybody already knows about Team Alpha Male. We did real good tonight. 2 guys, didn't win, but it was a good show all the way across the board. You could talk about the place, but if you're not down there training with them 2-3 times a day in there, you'll never know exactly until you see us fight. The training is awesome. The coaches are awesome. The fighters are awesome. Like I said, they brought me with open arms. I'm getting along with everybody. I'm working with everybody. I'm learning new stuff, and it's just going to get better from here on out, man. I'm still going to take a couple more weeks off of work, a couple months and see where it goes. Drop down to 55, and if I like it, that's where I'm going to be. But at any time, don't get me wrong, if I see a good fight at 70, I'll take it, you know what I mean? But he won't go back to 205 for sure.
Well, last thing before we let you go, we got to give an opportunity to give thanks and shout-outs to whoever you like.
I want to thank my team, Team Alpha Male, for bringing me there. I want to thank you for letting me speak. I want to thank Beatdown Fight Gear for always bringing me out with good shirts. Fuck Authority clothing line. I want to thank Cobra Source. I want to thank Josh with Vanquish. He does my shorts and banner. Always does a good job. I want to thank California Capital Bail Bonds. Always looking out for me. And just my family, man. With my daughter, just like my daughter, it's weird because I put her in a lot of sports. And when I'm at home and she knows I have to go to the gym, I'm like, oh, you want me to stay home? She's like, no, Dad, go. You know what I mean? It's just practice today. I know you're not going to be there at that meet. So just that alone. And then my girl, big supporter, always there for me, knowing that I got to make these sacrifices to do what I have to do. And I'm just going to return the favor always.
We can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. Thank you so much for talking to us, Nick.
Always appreciate it. Thank you.
Anthony Avila, the Shark of Team Alpha Male, was able to pick up the WFC lightweight title over Shad Smith with a first-round TKO. Angelo Avila of SRMMA.com caught up with the new champ after the fight, so let's hear the coverage.
This is Angelo Avila from SRMMA.com. I'm here with Anthony the Shark Avila, the new West Coast Fighting Championships lightweight champion. How does it feel?
Man, it feels great. I worked hard, 10-week camp, and it was just, I'm glad it all came to a close, and it was a happy ending.
You had a real tough opponent, real experienced opponent, almost 30 fights coming in on short notice. Did you change anything close to the end of the fight camp for Shad Smith?
No. All my camps, they're all the same. I train my striking, I train my grappling. It doesn't matter who the opponent is.
And what's left for you in the future? What's the future hope for you, Anthony?
Man, I wish I could tell you. I don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, my goal is to get into the UFC, but I don't know what they want from me, man. That's 11-1, 9 finishes, 8 in the first round. I don't know.
You had a really good back control throughout the entire fight. Was that the strategy going in to really control the grappling?
No, my plan was to go out there and have fun, I trained hard. I trained a long time for, like a monster. And I trained hard for a monster and stuff, and, it was just to go out there and have fun. I appreciated the guy to take the fight on short notice. I wanted to go out there and just have fun,
Well, congratulations, Anthony. You are the new West Coast Fighting Championships lightweight champion, and we can't wait to see your next fight.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Main event of the evening, Max Payne Griffin regained his WFC welterweight title that he lost to Justin Baseman by defeating Keto Andrews in 5 rounds. He was able to pull out the unanimous decision victory. Now he's set to fight Justin Baseman, who was also victorious on the card, defeating Mikhail Venikov in the title eliminator fight to see who was going to fight now. So now it's Baseman versus Griffin. We were able to catch up with Baseman after the fight. Let's hear his post-fight thoughts.
It's JWA from SRMA.com. We're here live at WFC. We want to talk to the post-fight victorious Justin the Raw Dale Baseman. You were able to come out of another tough fight with a victory, and not only that, but get the finish. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling great. Every fight's a tough fight at my level, and I'm thankful for my opponents coming in and giving me a good fight. So a shout out to Mikhail and everybody at Uriah's camp. I feel great. My last fight at Dragon House, I stepped out of the cage. Even though I was victorious, I wasn't happy with my performance, and my cardio wasn't the same. So once I stepped out the cage, I started training my ass off until I stepped into this cage, and it showed tonight. I was fine. I could have went 5 rounds. I feel great, feel strong, and I'm going to keep training and come back and get my belt back. Bank on that.
Well, during the bout, it looked like Venikov was able to kind of come in. He was trying to work the wrestling a lot. He looked like he was a strong guy. How did he feel in that?
Oh yeah, he was strong as hell and fast and smart. I could tell he's a smart fighter. He got some really good kicks in. He got 2 really good shots to my chin. The first shot, I was thinking, okay, that better not be all you have. And the second shot, I was thinking, oh my God, I had to push the stars back. So that was a really good fight. I'm happy with how it went down. He was really strong on the ground. I went for a triangle, and he just threw it away like it was nothing. And my triangle is my bread and butter. Not too many people know that. Not too many people know about my ground game because I never have to use it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take anybody down just because I feel comfortable. I like to stand up and bang because that's what my people want to see. So when I was down there, I was feeling comfortable and fine, and ended up getting his back, sunk the hooks in, and got the rear naked choke. Didn't realize how deep it was. Once I did realize, I just cranked, and it was over.
I was going to ask you about the finish, too. It looked like he was fighting it off for a second. Did it feel like he was ever going to get away from you, or were you certain in the finish?
Once I got his back and we dropped, I sunk it in, and the rear naked choke's hard to get on people, to be honest. It's hard to get, but I was in really deep, and I just locked it in and squeezed with air. I didn't care if I was going to gas. I just squeezed for dear life, to be honest.
Well, this was an eliminator bout. Now you had an opportunity to see the main event in the evening. What are your thoughts about the future and future matchup?
The main event, to be honest, no disrespect, was pathetic. It was horrible. It was some good exchanges, but I don't think Keto was Keto tonight. Max looked pretty good out there. I don't know if Keto just hopes for that one punch knockout like he got with me. but I don't think that was Keto in there. Keto's like me. We're both single parents. It's hard to live this life, and there's a lot of stress involved, and it's not easy doing this shit in the first place. Yeah. So, shout out to Keto. I hope you're okay outside the cage, and good performance to Max. That was good. The fight was kind of ugly, but hey, it's hard to do this shit, so I can't really knock him. I hope Keto's okay. I hope Max is okay. Good job, guys. Kind of expected more from you both, but hey, sometimes that happens to me too.
Well, one of the last things I wanted to ask you, you're going to be going against Max again in the future. I mean, what do you think about another matchup? You guys went all the rounds last time, and you see it coming down that way this time? I mean, there's a ton of time to speculate before that matchup happens, but I mean, initially, right now, what are you thinking?
Right now, I'm thinking, watching this fight, I know Max has been working on his ground game, so I don't really know where it's at. But the first time we fought, I kept it standing. I think I took him down one time, and he weathered the storm, so good for him for that. I think that's the only thing that won me the fight, was in the third round. I came aggressive, I took him down, I swarmed him, and I had him in deep trouble. So this next fight coming up, I'll let him know, hey, Max, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to keep you down. I'm going to see what your ground game is really like. So you have until August to step that ground up. My ground's been good for a long time. Nobody's ever really seen it because I don't use it. I'm not going to take you down if I think I'm going to beat you there. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do what I do. But I don't want to go 25 minutes with Max again. I know he can do it. He's a fucking beast. I'm going to take his ass down, and I'm going to tap him the fuck out. That's what's going to happen.
Well, last thing before we let you go, any shout-outs, any final thanks you want to give to the fans and stuff in attendance tonight?
Yeah, my family and friends, my daughters, Kalina, Ksenia, I do this for you. I love you girls. I know you guys are going to read this when you get older, and everything I do is for you. All my friends, my family, my sponsors. I'm going to have Johnny read off my sponsors. Go ahead, Johnny.
I got MMA Cold, 5150, Get Some, Liquid Nitro, MMA KO, MMA Gear, Fightcore, BloodHabits.com, Vicelia's MMA Gear, and I believe I got Creative Vision printing on the bottom.
Thank you. And Johnny and all your people, man, you guys are the best. I love having interviews with you guys. I look forward to it. You're the fucking man, Johnny.
Appreciate it. Post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thanks for talking to us, Justin.
All right. Thank you.
Also on the card, Andre "Touchy" FILI defended his title against Adrian Diaz, a formidable opponent. You can catch all the coverage on SRMA.com right now if you want to read more. He was able to defeat him by a third-round TKO. We caught up with the kid afterwards. Let's hear his thoughts.
It's JWoww from SRMA.com. We're here live at WFC 5. You were able to come out and defend your title, Andre "Touchy" FILI. I mean, what do you think about Diaz? What he was able to bring your way, get the third-round finish, but you were still able to get the finish.
He's a fucking tough kid, man. He's young and he's hungry like me. He's got a really bright future ahead of him. We went to war, man, and I think I got the better end of it this time. But fuck, you saw he hit me. He was long, he was rangy, he did his thing. I'm just proud to have been able to fight him, and I thank him for the opportunity.
Well, Diaz said before the fight he was going to try and use his reach and be more aggressive coming into the start. Did you feel that in the first couple rounds?
Yeah, I think I did. He does start out with a pretty slow pace. On the other hand, he's also durable through all 3 or 5 rounds. So, he does usually kind of take a slower pace in the first couple rounds. I felt he was aggressive. I felt he was right there with, I feel like a pretty aggressive fighter. I think he actually did a good job of slowing me down. I usually have pretty explosive first couple rounds. And we had a fast first couple rounds, but not quite as fast as I'm used to. I think I worked a little slower than I'm used to, and he worked a little faster than he's used to. I think that's just a result of us kind of imposing our wills on each other. I wanted to go fast. He wanted to start out more methodical, and we just worked.
Well, early on, it looked like you were establishing leg kicks. I mean, were you trying to keep him from moving more, or what was the idea behind the leg kicks?
I just really wanted to work my leg kicks this fight. Dwayne Ludwig's our head coach now, and that motherfucker can kick, so I want to learn to kick too.
Well, just a few more quick things. I mean, now you have the title, you're able to defend the title. What did you think about the atmosphere overall, and what do you think this says for you moving forward? I mean, do you think this was the statement fight you were looking for?
Yes, the best, most rad, fucking greatest experience. I can't even talk right now. Sorry.
It's all good.
I'm so excited, man. So many friends and family. I have like everyone I work with. All my best friends from years ago, kids who helped raise me when I was getting in trouble as a younger kid. My grandparents, my parents, my grandma flew in from Washington. Everyone's here. My team's here, and I really just want to fucking go watch Keto fight. I fucking love you, Johnny. Thank you so much. And this is an awesome experience.
And I also wanted to give thanks to all the fans that are listening to the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. You can download us on iTunes, check out our RSS feed. Also, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SRMMA, and on Twitter @SRMMA Tweets. There was one guy happened to come up to me at the West Coast Fighting 5 fight and tell us that we should do the Verbal Scrap Podcast more often, and believe me, if I could, I would. I wanted to give thanks to that guy. I didn't get a chance to catch his name, but it really means a lot that fans are excited to listen to our show, and I appreciate all the fans that are liking, sharing, checking it out. You have any thoughts along those lines, Shro?
Yeah, keep liking us. Spread us around.
Like us like a virus. SRMMA.com, the Verbal Scrap Podcast, 41st episode. I also wanted to talk to you, my man, about Cain Velasquez taking on Antonio Silva May 25th as well in the MGM. What do you think about this heavyweight matchup, my friend?
Well, talking to contributor Moda at the 159 event while we were watching it, and we're both sort of in the agreement. It's like we already saw this fight, and we kind of think it's going to go down the same. So I don't know. I mean, it's that Hail Mary shot. Obviously, we know that if Velasquez gets caught, he can go down. So it's going to be interesting. But I think at the end, Velasquez is going to have his hand raised.
Let's hear a little extended preview before we finish the show.
Cain Velasquez will be fighting Antonio Bigfoot Silva for the second time, this time for the belt.
Cain Velasquez right now is in the prime of his career. Larger men typically mature and peak later than smaller fighters. And at 30 years of age, he's coming off in the victory over Junior Dos Santos, of one of his most impressive performances ever. Big right hand by Velasquez!
Cain is a very intelligent fighter. He has a tremendous chin. His conditioning is probably the best in the heavyweight division.
A lot of people think that they're going to ride out the storm with Cain, but this storm never ends.
Key for me against Bigfoot is a lot of movement. I am quicker than Bigfoot, so I definitely have to use that to my advantage. I need to dictate where this fight goes.
Cain Velasquez has a high-level wrestling background. He can take anybody down. He can control them. He's relentless on the ground. He has some of the best ground and pound in the UFC.
His full arsenal of weapons in the stand-up department is one of the most underappreciated aspects of his game.
Velasquez looking to finish Brock Lesnar. Has good power, has excellent speed, finishes his combinations with kicks many times, and then works right into his wrestling. That ability to mix things up so well and hide his techniques and combinations is what gives him an advantage over guys like Bigfoot Silva.
Now, that was obviously all about Cain Velasquez. My question to you is, who really thought that Silva was going to knock out Overeem? So what are the possibilities here?
No, yeah, touche. I mean, anything can happen when you get into the octagon, but right now it's just all about the odds. If Velasquez wanted to, I think he can get in and grapple with Bigfoot and dictate the fight that way if he wanted to, and then just gas Bigfoot out and then just take him out through TKO strikes on the ground. I mean, I just feel that Velasquez is the better fighter and more well-rounded than Bigfoot.
And if you had to put a round on this, are you saying first, are you saying second, or you think it's going to be a later round kind of thing?
Well, I would almost say that it's going to be a later round ordeal. I think it's going to be a TKO stoppage on the ground because at some point Bigfoot's gas tank is going to go out. And I think Velasquez knows that. And rather than take the chance of really striking a lot with him, just the same way that he learned with Dos Santos, it's like, I don't really want that guy to hit me in the face because it hurts.
And it makes your face ugly.
Bigfoot can do that, and Velasquez, I think, knows that, and I'm sure that his camp is kind of alluding to that, too. It's just like, dictate the fight all the way around. If you feel comfortable with standing up with him, just don't get caught. Just don't get caught, because that's a big old giant fist.
And he's been known to knock bigger men out. So
exactly,
it's possible. On the 41st episode, brought to you by Lana's Egg Whites, Midtown Village Cafe, MMA Gold, and OneFitBody.net. Shout out to Chainlink Fight Gear, Bomb First, as well as B-Town Fight Gear. You can check us out on iTunes. Do you have any final words before I get into the finishing ceremonies?
Just thank you, buddy, for letting me come into the cockpit seat here.
Cockpit seat? You said cockpit seat. That's awesome. You're listening to the 41st episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SRMMA, and on Twitter @SRMMA Tweets. We appreciate all you guys for checking out our coverage, and if you are listening to us now, you are checking out Dead Air.